The time for talking is almost done. The grass has been cut, the lines have been drawn, the new Premier League season is just days away, and here are 5 reasons why it's going to be utter chaos. First off, let's go with Liverpool and their huge summer spending, which one way or the other is going to be headline worthy. Let's start with the positive angle, certainly from their point of view, and that is if it all goes swimmingly. Because if it does, they are going to run away with the league title at an astonishing rate. I mean, on the face of it, their new summer recruits not only fit into the team, but take it to a whole new level. Because let's be honest, they have brought in some unbelievably talented players. I mean, you take last season's performances, winning the Premier League, and you add 𝗬𝗧𝗧𝗏𝗧's creativity, add 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗧𝗏𝗧's star potential, 𝗵𝗠𝗠g's insane ability to get up and down the right-hand side, 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏𝗧 doing the same on the left. You'll find it hard, in my opinion, to find a team that has had a better transfer window after such a successful season. I'm not saying teams have rested on their laurels after winning the Premier League in years gone by, but to go and spend this much money on such a high caliber of player is astonishing. And like I said, if it all goes right, we could be watching a whole new level of Premier League team right before our very eyes. But what if it all goes wrong? What if the players take too long to adapt or don't adapt at all? What if the switch up in fullbacks leads to a less of a solid defensive unit, or the enormous price tag and the pressure that comes with it really gets to Florian Wirtz? The struggle could send Liverpool into a top 4 scrap as opposed to being tied to contenders, and if we're being critical about the situation, that really shouldn't be happening when, like I've said, they've effectively taken a title-winning team and made them even better. Do I think they'll have more of a title challenge this time around? Yes, and we'll get onto the title challenges in a second. But even with their presence, I still fully expect Liverpool to be in the title conversation come the end of the season. Either way, Liverpool's Premier League campaign and how well they deal with it will also affect their push into the latter stages of the cup competitions. So all in all, making that much noise in the transfer market will always attract a lot of attention and probably some scrutiny. Next up then, and we move to those aforementioned title challengers whose season could so easily be one to remember as it could be one to forget. The first is Chelsea, the champions of the world, may I remind you. This feels like the first time in a long time when Chelsea are heading into the new campaign fully behind their manager, and for good reason. He's brought European and world success to the team in his first year and has done a really good job at identifying where he needs to improve the squad and who is holding the team back. Getting rid of players is always a little harder than it seems, but for the most part, 𝗬𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧 has at least tried to keep his core group, not every single name associated with the club, to a minimum number of players and has sold fairly well. There's definitely plenty to build on at the club, and although they've had a brief flirt with the title challenge last season, there's no reason to think they really can't go for it this time around. Except, of course, if the same faults rear their ugly head again. Maybe Robert Sanchez decides to do something a bit mad, let's call it, or if the players face a serious hangover from the Club World Cup. Fatigue-wise, not alcohol-wise, then 𝗬𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧 may in fact need to lean on those outcasts to get them through some tough game weeks when they've got multiple competitions to contend with. We've seen it recently at Chelsea. The last thing they need is a fall-off, because that could easily spell trouble for the manager and another season written off for some sort of transition period. But the second title contenders I've got pinned for next season are, of course, Arsenal, because listening to fans and pundits alike, there seems to be this acceptance that it has to be this season or else for Arteta. This needs to be the year when Premier League glory returns to the club. On a positive note though, we'll start off positive, they've improved their starting 11 again and covered much needed weaker areas of the team with the likes of 𝗦𝗶𝗴𝗍, Zubamendi and, of course, 𝗷𝗊𝗏𝗏, leading what has been a pretty successful window for the Gunners overall. But does it translate to on-the-pitch Premier League success? It sort of has to. For so many years, Arteta has come so close to winning the title, but there's always been a reason as to why they haven't reached the promised land. They've been one step away, one signing away, one goal away, one result away, but maybe the pieces have finally fallen into place this time around. Much like with Liverpool last year, I think if Arsenal sense that the Premier League title is there for them, they might not even care about the Cups or going further in the Champions League. It'll be a case of win the league, go for it, get the trophy monkey off of their back, and then push on and fight on all fronts in years to come. The chaos in this story, really, will be if Arsenal are off the pace in the first half of the season. The fan meltdowns will commence, and the questions about Arteta's future will sting more and more. Away from the video for a second though, and we've got something new for you ahead of the brand new Premier League season. In the UK, the Premier League rights are worth an eye-watering £6.7 billion over the next 4 years, split between two broadcasters. Sky Sports holds the lion's share, airing 215 games, whilst TNT Sports and their streaming platform Discovery Plus have 52, including the Saturday lunchtime kickoffs. You're looking at around £30 per month for each, so it's not cheap. And whilst more games than ever are being shown, it's not all games, with that sacred Saturday 3 PM kickoff still bound by the broadcast blackout. Pretty much everywhere outside the UK though, you can indeed watch every single Premier League game each week. Let's take the US for example. NBC streaming platform Peacock has roughly half the games, whilst cable channel USA Network has the rest. Peacock's $10.99 per month, whilst you can stream USA on a cord cutter like Sling, which is $45.99 per month. In Australia, every game is in one place on Stan Sport, which will set you back 32 Aussie dollars and quite a few late nights. For a full list of broadcasters globally, you can head to the FourFourTwo website, but if you're traveling abroad, you can use a VPN to unblock your usual stream from anywhere. According to our brainy office mates at Tech Radar, NordVPN is the best on the market, and there's a great deal right now that nets you 70% off. We've put the link in the description so you can claim that now. But with all that said and done, let's get back to the chaos. Number 3, and you've heard about the rise of the underdogs, but what about the fall of the underdogs? Honestly, some clubs could be in for a very, very tough season for different reasons. We'll start with those that have been pulled apart like a wildebeest surrounded by a pack of lions, namely Wolves, Brentford and Bournemouth. Wolves have lost arguably two of their best players in recent years, with 𝗕𝗫𝗓𝗓 and Cunha both making the move to the opposite sides of Manchester. The club definitely needed to make a few signings anyway, but replacing those two will be a really, really tough ask. And for a team that has flirted with relegation more than once in previous seasons, they could be in for another difficult year. But that's actually the least surprising of the three that I've mentioned, as both Bournemouth and Brentford have suffered even bigger losses. These two are the go-to teams that everyone mentions when it comes to doing things the right way, building for a successful future over the long term. But this season could be a difficult one. For Brentford, they now face the new campaign without the man who made them such an impressive outfit in the first place, in Thomas Frank, their main goal threat in Bryan Mbeumo, 20 Premier League goals last season by the way, and their club captain in Christian Norgard, who's gone to Arsenal. Since being promoted, they've never really featured in the relegation scrap, and it's largely down to those three men, and without them, who knows what could happen. As for Bournemouth, they've somehow managed to lose the majority of their defensive unit, with 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗥𝗔-𝗬𝗧 likely and Huijsen being sold, plus Kepa returning to Chelsea and then not coming back. He's moved on to Arsenal. Yes, they've managed to sign some replacements, but with Iraola's team being so well drilled, it might take a little while for the new players to get on the same wavelength. And with the manager having achieved a record 9th place finish for them last season, it's always going to be tough to follow that up, never mind having lost quite a few defenders. Of course, they could do what Brighton seem to do every season and effortlessly transition into whatever new names and faces appear at the club, which would be great for all involved. If anything, the lack of success from Brentford and Bournemouth and whoever else would only then serve to further prove how unbelievably well Brighton do as a club in avoiding these issues year on year. But if it's not for these players being picked off, even though these next two teams have lost a player or two, it'll also be an interesting watch this year to see how both Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace contend with their newfound European schedule. Neither side have been in European competition in the modern era, and neither squad is really, to be honest, deep enough to build on a successful campaign last year, whilst giving their best in Europe as well. That's not me being harsh or saying they're definitely going to struggle, even though there is precedent from other teams making it into Europe for the first time. But you'll see that with the top teams, they can afford to rest players in midweek because their squad depth still has enough quality to win cup games and also to prioritise league matches on the weekend, definitely during the first half of the season in the European group stages, as the chances are they'll make it through anyways. For Forest and Palace players though, they'll be chomping at the bit to play in Europe midweek, and some players, even the club, may never even get this chance again. So it means that the quality and the consistency of their league campaign may actually suffer. Don't be surprised if either side find themselves in the lower regions come Christmas time. Okay, number 4 now, and I feel like we're a little bit back into Arsenal territory again, but this time with Manchester United, because for all their projects and transition seasons, this one needs to be a hell of a lot better. although to be fair it couldn't be much worse than last season. Ruben Amorim has been trusted to mould the squad despite a 15th place finish and a Europa League final loss. Marcus Rashford has gone. Big money has been spent on Cunha and Mbeumo and some other signings, and they've even put a new captains group together. So, will we finally see the rebirth of the club, a charge back into the European places, or will there be a memorable season incoming for all the wrong reasons? I think we can all agree either scenario is worth a watch, and either scenario, for me, is a real possibility. Negatively speaking, it's because not only does there seem to be a real toxic atmosphere around the club, in the stands, on the pitch and behind the scenes, but also because they haven't really got things right in the transfer market in a long time. Huge money has been spent on underperforming players, some of which are still at the club, and shaking loose these chains can be mentally challenging, more so than you'd think from the outside looking in. It's all about players buying into Amorim's style, his tactics, which didn't exactly produce many positive results last season. I don't think he's a bad coach. I'm just not sure how drastically different his tactics will be from last season, and that could be a worrying sign for the players that were there for that campaign. However, we do like to look at both sides of things, and what if it goes unbelievably right for United this season? It will definitely ruffle a few feathers if they turn up in the race for European spots. The right players have been brought in, the wrong players have been moved out for the most part, and it almost aligns with what Chelsea are doing in the fact that there is an ongoing process of shaping and moulding the squad, and it can't just be fixed in one window. But getting it right in 2, 3, 4 consecutive windows can lead to a better overall squad for the future. Arsenal have done that really well. I mean, jokes aside from last season, and this goes for Spurs too actually, I can't see either side having a bad league campaign as they did last year. Both sides have enough quality to improve week to week. They've made some excellent signings. Frank's Spurs will be set up much better than his enigmatic predecessor, and even though it's quite a damning situation for the Premier League, these clubs are just too powerful to go down, especially if the ones above them, Palace, Bournemouth, Brentford, all the others I've mentioned, are going to struggle like I think they might. Finally then, and onto this topic of inequality in the Premier League, and it's the 5th chaotic thing to look out for this season, and it's not a good one. We could see the 3 newly promoted teams go straight back down for the 3rd season in a row. It was Burnley, Sheffield United and Luton in 2024, and it was followed by Ipswich, Southampton and Leicester last season, which does not bode well for Leeds, Sunderland and Burnley this time around. In the past, we've seen newly promoted teams take a variety of approaches in terms of trying to stay up. Brentford had their methodical style that saw them, well, stay up ever since promotion, and others have relied on big spending like Forest and even Aston Villa when they came up quite a few years back. But the alarming ease almost in which the newly promoted sides have slid back down in the last 2 years is really telling of the state of Premier League football right now. The gap between the Championship and the Premier League is growing every single year in terms of finance and therefore depth and quality, and it leaves us in a situation like this where I'm not sure clubs will want to spend the money anymore, because doing so in a situation where they'll be down in a year, really against the odds, maximum 2 years, is going to seriously harm them in the long run. Nottingham Forest are a great example of this, where they literally broke the rules to spend big in the hopes that they would succeed. Yes, they have been successful for now, but if they went down at any point in the near future, they would be left in a world of hurt with some serious, enormous financial issues that couldn't be immediately fixed with championship level income. Think of the money they've spent and the wages and big contracts that they've given out recently. This one isn't even chaos or something to look forward to, but it's a reality that clubs will have to face, and Premier League fans I'm sure will be aware of this as the season unfolds in the coming weeks and months. Even one promoted team staying up should be seen as a success for the league. That's all from me for today though. Let me know what you're most looking forward to in the Premier League season, and don't forget to check out our season preview that is in shops right now. That's all from me though. Until the next video, I'll see you later.